we already have 16 folks here. So thank you all of us for joining. Really glad to have you here. So this is the third session in our workshop series, and this session will focus on SnapLogic Flows and how you can get started with SnapLogic Flows. So we have today Francis McWilliams from our solutions engineering team. So Francis recently joined SnapLogic, and he contributes to SnapLogic's pre-sales activities. And he really has a passion for improving business processes and has many years of experience in all aspects of technology. And prior to SnapLogic, he has worked at other integration companies like Talent and Informatica, and was also with the U.S. Marine Corps. So thank you for your service, Francis. And if you can share your presentation.
Certainly. First off, that's me.
Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, it's summertime on a boat. So our little agenda today in talking about flows. All right, we're going to discuss some of the challenges and opportunities that are going on right now. You'll see that there's a poll question, I believe, on slide number 4. Go ahead and answer that. I do see that there's a lot of movement in that area right now. I'll do a quick flows interview. This is not going to be death by PowerPoint by any means. I'm going to get into the product here very quickly. And then I'll be giving like a flows overview, what it is, how easy it is to use. Then we'll do a couple of use cases, just a couple of pretty simplistic data ingestions. But at the same time, we're going to be going over some of the data quality, maybe data security, other things that we can do to that data on the business side as it's moving, as it's being integrated, as it's moving across. I'll go over the IT kind of oversight for the business user flows, because it's not quite the wild, wild west. And then we'll have a Q&A session. So first off, are you on a journey to empower business users to build these integrations? Yes. Yes, we've already enabled them. Nope, not yet, but we think we might. And no, we have no plans.
Yeah, so we'll give out 30-40 seconds for you to put in your responses, and we'll look at them and share the results with you.
Very good.
All right, so we have the results. So around I'll say 66%. So 16% have already enabled business users, while 50% want to empower business users but haven't yet enabled them. So I think this is a great segue into flows and why flows exist.
By 2024, in part to fill the developer shortfall, I mean, this is just kind of a quote. 30% of the staff in organizations with over 1,000 people have some development or automation duty. I'll make them the fastest growing employee type. Also going to be an additional role that's going to be added kind of to many of these employees. Being familiar with things like data governance, what have you. I mean, data is owned by the business and the caretakers are IT, and we're trying to get everything moved out to the business, empower them so you're not doing IT requests and you're waiting for all these things to come back and it can take several weeks. At least that's what I hear from my customers and from the prospects that I deal with kind of like every day. So here we are. So we're going to discuss flows. This is a brand new user interface focused on making these integrations and business process automation for every business user. All right. It really simplifies the amount of configuration steps and options that users need to perform and create the most common integration really between the core business systems. I mean, number one, it's a no-code tool. It's literally select your source, your target, and then how you would like to wrangle the data. Yes, it's called a data wrangler within the tool itself. This is focused on the business user. It is not meant to have to click on help or to ask someone, because it's all self-contained on every screen as to every field and every step that needs to be done. So you really shouldn't be lost within the tool itself. And then we can do pipeline extensions, and you are able to collaborate with IT. It's kind of like an extensibility model where you can have business begin to develop their flows. We can actually have IT interact with that. And then, as I referred to earlier, this is not the wild, wild west. Okay, this is governed by IT. Currently, everyone has access to flows that has access to SnapLogic platform. And then in the, I believe, the next release, this will be able to be governed by the IT administrators as to who has access to flows itself. Additionally, you can also put, I won't say restrictions, but it is controlled by IT. The executions of these flows are recorded within the dashboard, meaning that IT knows about it. So there is no kind of like hidden secrets or something like that. They're not just off doing their own thing. It's in cooperation with IT and empowering the business users. And again, the last part is, enterprise class governance and security. So you're not really exposing anything that shouldn't be exposed. All right, kind of quickly here, the next couple of use cases, and let's get to the tool. Use case one is very simple. I'm taking Box to Google Sheets. Really, it's a CSV file. It's because I hear a lot of the prospects, we get these files in from customers all the time, and it doesn't matter. I know this could be a CSV or XML, JSON, what have you, coming in from a location. I've just picked Box, and I'll be bringing that in. I'm just going to do, a quick data quality modification on it. Maybe it's just a formatting piece, but as long as I can write regular expressions within the tool itself, very similar to Excel, then I can improve the quality of data that's coming in. And then my second one is going to be Salesforce Contacts. They're updated constantly. You need to keep the Google Sheets updated so that you can get it out to, say, your sales organization or to partners or to somebody like that. So what I've done with that and what I'll show is that I'm filtering the non-applicable data that's coming in. I don't need every field. I mean, Salesforce has got, 300-400 fields per table. I only need to select a few. And then I'm going to do some data quality mapping on that. I'm going to identify nulls, et cetera, if there's null information. So getting into flows itself. Well, within the main screen, I have my list of current, my recent flows. Then I have, the latest executions and what's been running out there. That's not me. That's one of my compadres that have been running it. But I can go back to see what the last executions are. And you should probably see some success or failures within here. Now, creating a new flow. It's really as simple as saying, I want a new flow. That's this new flow. I'm not going to create it here because for the essence of time, but then I would save it in a project. Okay, now the projects are just like logically group related assets, such as the flow, like same thing as like pipelines and files, accounts, tests, and more. So this way you can have the information shared. Additionally, all the flows, depending on how they're configured, can be shared among individuals. So you're not recreating the wheel all the time. So you can actually utilize each other's, should that be necessary. So if I pick my new flow, or I should say my current flow, let's just start with the email list box to the CSV file. Again, a very non-threatening interface. Okay, it's nothing that's so technical that it's going to scare away business users. You have to keep that in mind in moving it out of IT. So I've selected Box as the source data. I've selected the file. I did have to tell it what account I'm using. So I've got the credentials that are necessary in order to communicate to that source location. From there, I can filter the data. And then the second part here on the preview window on the left, okay, these are the steps within the flow itself. In the center, I mean, this panel is kind of like the configuration. That's where we're going to be spending most of our time. On the right, this is very important, is the contextual panel with the documentation of the flow process. Again, your business users won't be scared or lost or calling IT every 5 minutes. So they don't have to leave this interface to get any assistance. It'll tell you what each field and what belongs in each one. So the next step, I've already selected Box. I've got my CSV file. What am I going to do with it now? I want to bring this in. It's called the Datawrangler. It sounds very cowboy. And if I choose, I can filter the source that are coming in, and I can select what fields I want. In this case, it's kind of a small file, so I really didn't bother. Although one of the requirements that was given to me is the location of HQ. Actually is part of some city name of a subsidiary. So they wanted that changed to headquarters. So I can go into the mapping of the destination, and you'll see that here I'm replacing the location of HQ to headquarters. Another one that I use a lot is the if null, because I don't know what kind of data I'm getting in from customers sometime, and you can't say it's going to be perfect. But if the emails are null, it would say that email is not listed in the email field. So I'm doing data quality checks and things. Additionally, if I can go through this drop down, you'll see not only the fields that are being utilized here, but as I scroll down, you can see all of the other functions that are available. I would say similar to an Excel, or probably a little bit more advanced. So you see everything from date formatting to replacing strings, sums. I can change the field types, things like that. So there is it's really just a 3-step operation. So as far as the source, what am I going to do with that input data? And then the target. And from there, I can operationalize it. So then you see that the last part is the Google Sheets. Again, I have the account with the Google Flow, probably the Google Sheets account. Where will I be placing it? In this Flows update mailing list. This is the spreadsheet, and what sheet name is 2. And then the destination is complete. From there now, I can either add more to it. Suppose I wanted to put it somewhere else. You'll see that in the next example. So from there, I can end the flow, and it'll come up and say, do you want to schedule this this task or this flow? Well, I'm getting files in constantly, and I need to keep that spreadsheet up to date so that I can go into my scheduler and I can run it every so often. I can do as far as start date, end date, etc. And then I can enable the flow, and it'll just keep running every 90 minutes in this case. And then additionally, I have my notifications, and it'll tell me when it started, stopped, failed, completed, etc. So just to show you that I'm not fibbing, so here's the pipeline notifications. So it'll tell me anytime that the status has changed on that. So again, makes business users very comfortable. So I go ahead and run this now. So you can see here that the mailing list and all the information, here's the headquarters, HQ has been replaced by headquarters, etc. I've uppercase the title just to show you some of the capabilities, but there is a lot more that it can do. So from here, I can actually go through, and it'll tell me what is the issue and what's wrong. Okay, it's got an invalid request. It's got the token refresh on the Google Sheets. Well, that can be resolved very quickly by going.
This is a great point as to, okay, where do you see errors?
Yes.
So yeah.
Again, I'm a business user. I don't want to have to call somebody. So I can do authorize here, and then I press refresh to refresh the token. Please wait while we refresh your access token. Once it's complete, now I want to do a validation. It might take a couple of seconds, so I might have to do it a second time. Account validation successful. Hey, that's great. So now I can go back, and I can either say run, or I can go up here and press play. It'll say save your changes, which I have. Now the second run, it'll be successful. So that's actually pretty good because it'll show you how a business user can correct an error, so to speak. So if I go back to the home screen, let me take a look at it. And you can see here now completed. So the first one failed. I made the correction. Second one completed. So as a business user, you're empowering them more than just giving them access to some data that's out there. And my second flow that I wanted to cover is within the Salesforce Contacts. And you'll see here I have my Salesforce account. Yes, I have to be authorized in order to do that. I'm picking up the contacts. If I want to say I want to filter this data coming in, jump back to the preview in a moment. Take it a little quickly. So within my Datawrangler here, filter the source. In this case, I just kind of brought everything in just for demonstration purposes. And now it's out there getting the data and providing me a preview. Again, a visual representation to the business user so that they kind of know what they're getting. Before I jump into the Wrangler, I wanted to show this part. Oh, that's fine. From Salesforce, it comes down into an additional branch you can see here. And I'm putting this out to just a Google Sheet. But then at the same time, I need to keep track. I need an archive of all the files that are coming in, all of my JSON files. So I wrote just a JSON repository, so to speak, out in Box. So now in this branch that we're looking at now, this is going to be the Google Sheets branch. And you can see the information coming in. You can see the columns that I've selected here on the left. If there's additional information. And then if I map it, you can see that I've done some uppercase. I've checked for department being kind of null. And if it was null, because it was, it changed it to no department. And then the string coming in originally, just another kind of string manipulation that I wanted to show. Hopefully this doesn't make my screen go too blank on you. But the date field, oh, I didn't include that here. Within the last modified date, on the input, it was giving me a Zulu date that was coming in. So all I did was just do a substring and say get the first 10 characters of it, and then don't worry about the rest. And from there, it'll write that out to the Google Sheets. Kind of the same thing. I'm just doing a complete pass through over to my box, over to my JSON file. Again, just to show you, because kind of proof is in the pudding.
So Francis, we have one quick question. I think is related to what you are showing.
Yes.
Can you once again show where did you go to in the screen to get the configuration for flows?
To configuring flows.
Yeah, it's probably the home screen. Yeah, just the home screen.
Here. And I just say new flow.
No, yeah, new flow, or you can edit an existing flow by clicking on the pencil icon.
Yes. Oh, additionally, we were talking about scheduling briefly, and I'm also able to turn that off and on. So this is the schedule, the Salesforce Contacts update, etc. Just by clicking the bar here, that will enable that schedule. So I can turn it off, turn it on as I want to. So I thought that was additional kind of neat piece of functionality. All right. Any more questions?
Sorry, I interrupted you, but if you want to go back to what you were showing.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to show that. So those are the first two use cases. Just to show that, yes, we have the information. It is being data quality actions or activity are being placed upon the data before it gets to its destination. So I can manipulate that. No programming involved, literally. And then this is just the JSON file that I was referring to. This is just my repository. It keeps appending to it as I get additional data coming in. All right.
Right.
Now, the next part that I wanted to show is going into the Intelligent Designer. So by looking at this, all I'm showing here is that Flows runs on top of the Intelligent Integration Platform, and it leverages all the same enterprise power. Okay, REST-based, stateless, schemaless, streaming, etc. The designer, that's what you're taking a look at now. This is the cloud-based management console. All right, so you can see the pipeline, the tasks, and snaps that have been actually generated for you. So instead of going into this tool, which would be a typical ETL developer, that non-threatening Flows interface builds this kind of in the background. So it's got the same, Flows utilizes all the same easy use capabilities. And it's got the suggestions, schema propagation, and preview, and more. And just as we were looking at the data, kind of within the flows themselves, I can actually go out into this particular tool, which is an IT kind of based tool. It'll run through and perform a validation. And now, just as we were looking at the data in Flows, I can see the same data here within the intelligent platform. So again, we're empowering the business, but we're still maintaining somewhat control. So I know that I want to leave a little time for QA. At this point, I do want to show, though, the dashboard. So that was kind of like the third part that I was referring to. Now, this is kind of the pipeline execution, or actually Flows execution in my case. In IT, they are aware of what is being run within Flows by the business side, so to speak. So you've got all these business users doing their thing. And this will tell me, you can see here, there's the one that I just ran and it failed. I have the other one that's completed. And yet they still have the same level of granularity and detail of the execution status. So not only here, same steps, going to read the box. We're going to parse that CSV file. Yes, it filter a mapper. Okay, that's what I'm doing, my uppercase, lowercase, string parsing, and then writing it to a worksheet. It's the same snaps that it is utilizing. And it still has all of the same, I call it extreme granular information in regards to the execution of the flow. So I can see what the CPU, memory, wait times, and things like that are. So those controls are available. So we're empowering these business users, but we're still, I don't want to say keeping the training wheels on, but we are keeping somewhat control. So think of them almost as an extension of the IT capabilities, and especially the IT staff, if you're going to start giving them more tasks in order to do this.
Yeah, I think this is great, and it's great to see. I mean, users, the business users, still have that that simple, friendly, or non-threatening, as you mentioned, Francis, and yet you can control everything on the back end from the IT side.
Yes.
If we can go back to the slides. I just want to quickly cover resources before we
Certainly.
go and answer any questions. So I think there is one slide after that. Was
Oh, I'm
before.
Sorry. Go right ahead. There you go.
No worries, no worries. Let's just go to the Q&A slide, and then I'll just read out the resources. So some of the resources that are available to you as part of the summit. One is, if you're not a customer already, please sign up for a free trial. So we have 30-day free trial available for our platform. SnapLogic Flows free trial is coming very soon. So that'll be coming up within next few months. So keep an eye out for that. If you're already a customer, please make sure leverage the free certification that is available to you, and you'll also get a badge that you can put on LinkedIn, for example. And also don't forget to join us in the community. That's where you can ask questions to your peers, and also get notification or get first-hand news as to what are the new features that are being added to the platform. And there are a whole bunch of other resources on how to essentially make your project successful on the SnapLogic platform, and those are all available on the SnapLogic website in the resources section. So, with respect to Flows specifically, you can sign up if you want to try out Flows. Sign up to products /SnapLogic-Flows. You can also download the Flows data sheet from the resources section. And as I mentioned, the free trial is coming pretty soon. So type in your questions in the chat box, and we'll be happy to answer any of them. So we got one question already. So can an admin restrict business users from creating flows which write to read from specific systems or require approval to implement? That is, restricting flows from writing potentially incorrect data into a system of record.
You can restrict the access. Well, currently all the users, I mean, it's in the next couple of weeks. Remember, Flows is on, correct me if I'm wrong, Benajay, but Flows is on a very accelerated upgrade path. And there's additional feature functionality added on a monthly basis as we get these requests that are in. So there's an update that happens a lot.
Right.
I'm not sure. I know that they're going to be able to have the admins be able to specify what users have access to Flows. Again,
yeah. So actually, if I can chime in, So there are two things to that. One is that we'll be allowing admins to control which users have access to Flows. So you can even create users within SnapLogic platform that are Flows only users. So those are specifically business users. And then the second thing is with respect to accounts. I think these are just how accounts are defined in the various systems of record. So as long as if they have access to certain accounts that have certain privileges, then they won't be able. Then they will be able to access or perform those functions in those systems of record. If you want to restrict certain operations in a specific system of record, you need to create those accounts within that system. So that's how. So I think I'll say there are these two layers with which you can approach that.
You can see the granularity of the accounts here. You can have some that are, the account would only be allowed to go to that particular data source and do a read only or something like that, based on the account type and the credentials.
Yeah, and I think, and similar to what you have on the SnapLogic platform, you have certain accounts that are shared. right? So that can be used by multiple folks within a project versus certain accounts that are private. So you can have a similar model where you have more restrictive accounts that are private, while uh, sorry, more more capable accounts that are private and more restrictive accounts that are public. So I know we are almost at the end of the time. I want to thank you, Francis, for an excellent demo and
Thank
for
you.
the presentation. So really cool, and I hope that we will help change Richard's mind, who has complained earlier. I mean, he has posted in chat that yeah, they have tried very hard to enable business users, but they have always run into problems. So I'll say give Flows a try, and give us your feedback, and we'll love to chat with you and learn how we can make things easier for your business users. So thank you very much, Francis, again, and thank you
Thank
all
you.
of you for joining us. We'll see
Thank you,
you
everyone.
in the next workshop session. Thank you.